Welcome everyone to Module 2 of MLM Recruiting Mastery System. In this module, we're going to talk about magnetic communication. Have you ever wondered, some people, they can track lots of prospects, they're very popular, they have lots of friends, and then when they speak, they're a person of influence. Well, in this module, you're going to learn fundamental principles and important things we can do, and also how to read people better. Okay, a lot of tips, especially when you prospect and approach people. Also, talk about networking. How to meet new friends and build a list. Some things you should be doing, definitely should be doing, leaving the house, go meeting people, whether it's something you'd like to do or at networking events, some couple quick tips to allow you to expand your contact base. And these are the same tips that help me build $1 million network. So the importance of communication, communication is so important. The fact that you will be if you don't quit, if you keep going, right, in network marketing, you'll be a better communicator. That alone is that's why everyone should do network marketing, because it forces you to be a better communicator. And importance of communication. Number one, it lets you lead a happier life. You can have better relationships, right? And I grew up shy and wasn't able to communicate. And I'll tell you, that led to low self-esteem. I felt that I wasn't good looking. I felt like girls wouldn't like me, or if people wouldn't listen to me, I wouldn't speak. I was afraid to speak up in class because I felt that my ideas were dumb. And it wasn't dumb. All that stuff was because I wasn't a good communicator. Poor communication leads to also problems and conflicts with people, with relationships, right? And that's also leads to bad leadership. So communication is really important. Bad communication also creates misunderstanding, judgment. So not taking the time to communicate or not taking the time to listen when you communicate. The best part of network marketing, like I said, forces you to learn how to communicate. Prospecting, sponsoring, leading your team is all about communication. Good communication is the key, not just success in network marketing, but to happiness in life. And it's really getting outside the comfort zone and learning to communicate. That's what network marketing does, and that's why I'm so grateful, for network marketing. Otherwise, I wouldn't be. It's not the materialistic things, but the impact it made, right? It all comes back to allows and makes you become a better communicator. So you must learn the basics of communication to prospect and build your MLM business. Okay, basic communication is how you talk to prospects, and as you get better, you can do presentations and trainings. Using your communication skills to inspire and help others in your community. So for me, as I become a better communicator, I was able to do a podcast. I was able to become a trainer, speak world on different stages, speak on the same stage of famous speakers. All that because of communication, and also allowed me, most importantly, to be a better husband and better father at home. Learn to communicate. So here are some basic rules of communication. Number one is you must really care about others. Right? It's not about you. You really must care. Prospecting, okay, is related to it because it's all about finding about your prospects, their needs, and how you can help them. So you got to be a good listener. It's not about a good talker. Okay, there's a big difference. Good communicators are not good talkers. They're good listeners. Now, why you feel that, when they speak, everyone listens to them? And because that's one of the few times they speak. Most of the time, they're very, very good listeners. I'm sure you know someone that talks a lot, and you just can't stand them. And then there's some people, they don't need to say much, but when they say a few things, everyone pays attention to them, right? Because they're a good communicator. So one of your goals is find any way to help someone, right? This is something I want you to do. Find any way to help someone, not about your business. Because this forces you to listen more and provide value. Okay, provide value, especially when meeting new people. And I want to talk about this later on when we talk about networking. This also allows you to find the needs of prospects and which prospect angle is best. So, for example, you may be thinking, if you're thinking about talking about your testimonial, product testimonial, but your prospect's not interested in those type of prospects, then it'd be really, it would be a bad presentation to spend all the time talking about products. And vice versa. Okay, if you have a person that's not really interested in the business, but is really into the products, again, you should be talking about the products. And this actually goes even more detailed. For example, if you're really listening, you can find and customize your story, your why, to something that relates to the prospect. Okay, so you must really care and listen to them. So 100% listening. What does that mean? That means no multitasking. You must really listen to the clues in the conversation. And then you can't find the clues and know how to help others if you don't give them undivided attention. So I know I've seen a lot of people, when they're talking on the phone, for example, they're also on the computer looking at. That's not real listening. You're hearing, but you're not listening. Another basic rule of communication is smile. Always smile. Even when you're on the phone, people can hear your smile. Maybe you're hearing my smile right now. The why is because it's the law of attraction. You always attract who you are, what you are. If you're happy and positive, those are the prospects you attract. If you find that you're not attracting good people, it's probably because you have some type of negative mindset. You are not always smiling and happy and positive. Couple other rules of communication. Never complain nor gossip, because it feeds negative energy into your mind and messes up your subconscious. We talk about the mindset subconscious in the module 1. By the way, if you haven't listened to module 1, definitely listen to it. And we need to be positive because the business, I'll tell you, will be tough on you mentally. We need all the positive energy we can get, right? And if you're a negative person, you tend to complain and gossip, no prospect will want to listen nor join you. So this about is normal life. So if you are, doesn't mean that you only stay positive and excited and happy when you talk about business. No, it's 24/7. Stop the complaining, gossip, stop the negative thinking. Always be positive. So when you listen a lot, one of the benefits is you get to read the prospect. So let's talk a little bit about this, okay? Reading, what does it mean by reading the prospect? Learn to read the prospect and find the prospect's real concerns and needs. The real concerns. If a prospect's only interested in products, don't go and talk about business, and vice versa. If a prospect wants to make big money, don't bore him about the nutrition products or your company's products. He will think products are boring or worse. He will actually think that they make money, making money is being made by being go door-to-door vitamin salesperson. Okay? So think about it. As prospects think about making big money, don't waste time talking about products, especially if you're doing a health product, because some people think they got to door-to-door, sell them out of the garage. That actually just discourages someone from joining. Now, that doesn't mean that's not important, but if your prospect is thinking that, that's what you have to pay attention to. Now, always read the prospect and how you can help them. So different ways to read the prospect. Facial expressions, right? If you're talking to them, and maybe someone you are talking about products, all of a sudden your prospect's eyebrows are raised. That tells you they're interested in that. Or you share different parts of your story. And over a specific part of your story, your prospect leans in, it opens, right? That tells you that is something they're interested in. See, these are really clues. Another thing could be the words they say, right? What they say, what they're talking about, what do they like to talk about. That allows you to let you know what's important to them. And also how they say the words, okay? That's actually even more important, how they say. So, for example, the tone, the volume, the speed. And I'll give you an example. There's different ways to say, I don't have time. Someone can say, I don't have time. Or someone can say, I don't have time, right? Which one's more sincere? The first one, the person who says, maybe after your presentation says, I don't have time. Or someone that says, I don't have time, right? The second one is just the person just blowing you off and just saying no. So pay attention to how they say it, okay? So one is sincere, one is actually sincere, one is not that interested in the business. So that's why when it comes to prospecting, face-to-face is best, because not only can you hear their voice, but you can hear the facial expressions. The phone is second best because you hear the tonality, how they say the words. And then email and text are the worst because you can't see the face, you can't see how they're typing it in. Now, I know there's some emotion cons and stuff that you can use, but still not the same as hearing someone's voice and reading the prospect. So you got to really, really listen. Listening reveals what the prospect's real needs and concerns are. And here's a good exercise. Okay, this is one of my favorite exercises that I did early on that helped me, not only help me be a better presenter, but helped me read the prospect better. So here's a sentence. Okay, if you see the video, it says, I did not say John beat his friend. Okay, I did not say John beat his friend. So that is 8 words. Okay, I did not say John beat his friend. This sentence has 8 different meanings depending on how you use the voice. So for example, if I say, I did not say John beat his friend, that's just a statement, right? Another one could say, I did not say John beat his friend. That means there could be someone else said that. Maybe David said that, but I did not say John beat his friend, right? You see how this is a different meaning? Another one could say, I did not say John beat his friend. That does a very emphasis. understatement. There's a different meaning. Another one is, okay, if I emphasize the word say, I did not say John beat his friend. Now, I may have hinted at it. I may have suggested, but I did not say John beat his friend. I did not say John beat his friend. That was David that beat his friend. I did not say John beat his friend. That was someone else. I did not say John beat his friend. He pushed him around. He whipped him, slapped him. But he didn't beat his friend. See, total different meaning. I did not say John beat his friend. He loves his friends. That was someone else's friend he beat. I did not say John beat his friend. That was not his friend. That was his enemy. Okay? I did not say John beat his friend. Again, you see how I just give a really quick exercise. That's one of the best exercises I would like every one of you to do, is work on the voice intonation. Because not only will you be able to be a better presenter, and when you're closing, just makes you speak slower, but it will train you to listen better when your prospects bring up objections or questions, what they really mean. Okay, it allows you to read the prospect more and more. That alone is worth this whole module. Practicing that over and over again, and you'll be able to communicate better, especially when you're closing later. We speak with better authority, learning which words to emphasize, and also allow you to read your prospects better. So always read your prospect. The goal is to find something to help them, and because you must present something that fits their interest. For example, if my prospect likes sports, I'll talk about my NBA basketball background. But if a prospect is a female, is not into sports, is planning to get married, I'll skip the basketball and talk about how my business gave me a dream wedding and an ability to take 2 honeymoons, go to Bora Bora and the China Olympics. Right? People like things they have in common and what they can relate to. So, moving on, this is the thing. Why do people join you? They buy you, right? You know that already. That's why you're listening to this course. People buy you. People buy from those they know, they like, and they trust. Okay, they got to know you, they got to like you, and they got to trust you. So, people buy from people they like. Okay, so think about this. There are many instances where you purchase something that may have been a higher price, but you purchase because you like the place or the person that was selling it, right? So you must, correct? So there've been stores where you buy things a little bit more expensive, but you like it better. Or there are restaurants that have great food, but you don't like the service, so you don't go there. So again, that's like an example where product quality is not the most important thing sometimes, right? You could go to a restaurant, great. Well, we all know about a great restaurant we can think of. Great food, but terrible service, right? And so you don't want to go there, right? So people buy from people they like. And there's people like cheaper, that offer cheaper products, but the person, the owner is a jerk, you don't like them, so you don't patronize them. You rather buy from someone, you actually pay a little higher price because you like the person. So you must make the prospect like you. Here's 2 simple ways to get a prospect to like you. Number 1 is letting them talk and vent. Okay, be a good listener. And number 2 is establish commonality, something in common. So let's talk about listening. Listening, not only will they get the prospect to like you, it also builds trust. So let others talk and vent. Right? Most people don't let other people talk and vent, but everyone loves to talk. They love to vent. That's why we can't stand people who cut us off, right? Mid-sentence, they don't let us talk. We love to talk and vent, but most people don't let that. So if you just let others talk and vent, people will like you because number 1, everyone wants to feel important. Everyone wants to be heard. Everyone likes to talk. But the people they talk to they also want to talk and heard. So there's always a conflict. They can never share everything because they're always getting cut off. The other person is always talking. So immediate way to stand out and get someone to like you is to let them talk. Because no one else lets anyone talk nowadays, right? Let them feel important. Hear them out. Let them vent, right? And the more they talk, the rule is, the more they will like you. Okay, the more they talk, the more they'll like you. And remember, the more they like you, the greater chance to join or buy your business. And also, the more they talk, the more you listen, that builds trust. Now, establish commonality. Another way to get someone to like you is establish things in common. We have a bias towards things or people that we have in common, right? People like people in common. We gravitate to people who are similar to us. For example, similar hobbies, demographics, geography, sports. So talk and shares things that you have in common for a prospect. But here's the trick. Before you start talking, you must listen first. Listen first, okay? And then once you listen first, you know what, you're finding things, and it's when you listen, find things that you have something in common. And then you can share a little bit about that thing, and then ask a question and get your prospect to talk about that thing you have in common, all right? Talk about common things makes you a better communicator. So ways to establish commonality. Number one, remember, listen first. So here's something people have in common: similar interest, like hobbies, sports. Okay, sports is the big one, right? You can go to like a pub, a bar, or a community event, and if you find someone who likes the same sports teams, especially if you're traveling somewhere, immediately you bond, right? Sports fans, they tend to like each other better. If you go to go to a bar, a pub, and everyone likes the New York Yankees, and you're the only Red Sox fan out there, and then you find another person who's like a Red Sox fan, immediately you gravitate and think that person's cool. You actually may become friends and stay in touch afterwards. Okay, it's the power of sports. Another thing is geography. Okay, geography, like where your hometown is, especially if you're traveling. If you find someone also from the same place, you immediately build a connection, right? Oh, you're from LA too. You grew up in LA. I mean, for me, this happens all the time. I'm in LA, find someone who is from New York. Oh, you're from New York. Where did you grow up? We immediately find a connection. Another way to establish commonality is ethnicity, right? I mean, we shouldn't, but we always kind of judge people by the way they look, unfortunately. So, I mean, I'm not saying that's the right way, but we always tend to, whether it's good or bad, so sometimes good, sometimes bad, right? Sometimes when we think about judging people how they look, we think of the bad, but there's also a lot of good as well sometimes. Like, people think positive you, right? Especially if the same ethnicity, helps you make friends easier sometimes, especially if you're going to a new city, a new event, or you're visiting a new country, right? So you can build a connection better. So people actually gravitate to people with the same ethnicity, same background. So whether you're Asian, you're African American, or you're European African, or you're Hispanic, right? Latino. People tend to gravitate, especially if they speak the same language as well, right? So I mean, that's why a lot of immigrant communities are developed. Right, this is the positive. Like immigrants who move into a new country, they come in. They don't really speak the language well. They feel isolated. They feel lonely. Instantly gravitates to people who are the same ethnicity. That happens, right? So it's something natural in us. Next is the age or perception of age. People a lot of times gravitate towards people with the same age. And just think about it. Whatever age you are in right now, most of your friends are probably around your age. Or if you went to a strange place, right? If you are, again, this is not for everyone, for most people, if you're in your 20s right now, you go to a room and they're all people who are all much older, 50, 60, 70 years old, and there's only one other guy who's like around your age, you probably start talking to the person in your 20s, correct? And same thing, if you're like 60 years old and you go to a room of all 20-something-year-olds and you have someone else that's around 60, 50, late 50s, 60s, 70s, you'll probably gravitate and talk to that person. So the age of perception age is also some way to establish commonality. Next one is mirroring. Mirroring is actually, you may have heard this before, it's copying, kind of being a mirror image of the person. So you copy their pace of speech. Okay, if the person speaks fast, you mirror them. You speak a little faster. If you speak slow, you have to slow down. So that's the thing I always work on. If I see someone who is speaks slower, I normally will slow my speech down. The volume. Some people speak very loud, right? They get overwhelmed, right? Some people speak very soft. If your other person is speaking soft, do not overwhelm them. Hand gestures is another thing, mirror, right? If people are not using hand gestures, don't be flapping your hands around, right? The people thinking, sometimes don't like, a lot of people don't like that. But also the other person very animated, you got to be animated as well. Or the person feel like, they can't make a connection with you. Another thing is assertiveness, aggressiveness versus passive, right? That's another way to, people who are very assertive, they sometimes don't like people who are passive. So you have to be assertive as well. Now, so these are things I'm not telling you to change your personality, but you can mirror. Okay, so for example, similar interests we talked about. If I find someone, they're awesome from New York, I say, oh, what's going on? What part of New York? I'll instantly talk about the one thing that we have in common. Or if I find something like, oh, you like baseball as well. What's your favorite team? Like, I like sports. We start talking about that. I'm going to ask them about that. Okay, you ask what you have something in common. ethnicity, right? We talked about that. We gravitate toward people who are, maybe you may ask them, again, relate to geography, where their hometown is from. So someone said they're from Hong Kong. I mean, I'm not from Hong Kong, but my parents are from Hong Kong. I can start talking about that. And instantly that person will feel like they like me more because we have something in common. Even though I'm not from Hong Kong, but my parents were, and they felt that they can relate to me a little bit better, right? The age of perception of age, right? And generally, people are younger, they're more animated, excited, more energetic. Again, I'm not saying everyone who is a little bit older are slow and boring and dull. Okay, that's not my point. But perception, people are younger, they have more energy, they talk faster, they walk faster. So if you want to connect with them, right, you have to kind of mirror that as well. Be like that. So you want to be kind of like a chameleon, change shapes, right? So even if you're older, you want to be the cool guy. I mean, even if you're older, like 60, you're the 60-year that acts like a 20-something. Because then they can relate to you better, right? They don't feel like you're the grandpa talking to them. They feel that you're a really cool guy who's like actually around their age. So age is another way to build commonality. And then we talk about mirroring. All right, now mirroring, again, pace of speech, volume of speech, gestures, assertiveness. Okay, I kind of mentioned that already. Just to review again, these are things to think in common. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to change your personality, but again, the best way to think of it as a chameleon. Okay, you change shapes and you adapt to how your prospect is. Now, I'm going to share with you my 3-sentence formula. Okay, I'm going to mention this again later. I'm going to mention it here first. So, if you just ask questions about something in common, it seems like interrogation, right? So tell me where you're from Brooklyn, New York. Where did you go to school? What high school did you go to? What are the parks? Where did you hang out? What are the favorite places you like to go at night? If you just keep asking, what's your favorite restaurant? Keep asking question after question, that seems like interrogation. So the way around it, okay, here's a tip. The way around this is you share 1 or 2 things about yourself, share 2 or 3 sentences, and then you ask a question back. So, for example, if someone is from Brooklyn, New York, it's like, oh, wow. If someone's from New York, just say, right? I could say, well, I'm from New York, too. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York for most of my life. What part of New York did you grow up in? You see how I did that? Right? So, then I can say, oh, one of the things I miss about New York is I love. And then I can add that, one of the things I miss about New York, I love New York pizza. It's the best pizza, one of the best pizza in the world. I mean, I also like Chicago deep dish pizzas, but a little different. And then I can add, one of the things I love about New York is New York pizza. It's awesome. It's a great place in the West Village. Do you like New York pizza? What's your favorite New York pizza place? Right? I can end with that question there. Another thing after we cleared off where he's from New York, I can say, one of the things I love about New York I miss is the New York pizza. It's awesome. I love New York pizza. I've been around the world. Nothing beats New York pizza. What's your favorite type of New York food? You see how I did that? Right? Then I can also add, one of the things I love New York is Central Park, especially during the summer. Central Park, and there's a park in the middle of the city. It's always so super cool. Where do you like to hang out during the summer? Okay, so that's a 3-sentence formula where it's more natural. It's not like just me find one question after another. I share 1 or 2 things. Okay, and again, what I share, you have to be listening. I share about the things that's something in common with, right? If someone's a sports fan, like a baseball fan, again, I'll give you one more example. Well, I love baseball too. I've been a New York Yankees fan since I was a little kid. What team do you like? All right? Okay, I used to go to baseball games a lot. I've been to. See, remember my first baseball game though. Do you go to a lot of games? Right. So you share 1 or 2 sentences, ended, so that becomes a more natural. It'll allow you to be a better communicator. But the questions I'm guiding them with are always something that we have something similar in interest in. Okay, building commonality. So with similar interests, geography, ethnicity, age, or perception, or something we're mirroring. So that's the 3-sentence formula. It works really, really well. Practice doing that. Okay, practice listening. Find something in common. What is similar interests, sports, what are hobbies, geography or ethnicity or mirroring something that you have something in common. Share, once you find that, share something in 2 or 3 sentences, but you got to keep it short because if you talk too much, you could be, you're not going to be a listener, right? No one wants to talk to someone that talks too much. Share it in 2 or 3 sentences and then always ask a question back so they can reveal more. It's like peeling layers of onion. You want to get to the core. Ask a question. right? They just answer, then share 1 or 2 things, ask a question, share 2 or 3 sentences, ask a question. So there you go. That's a 3-sentence formula. It works really well. Start practicing that now.